Hello, my name's David Seaman, and this is the Three Lions Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions Podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an Independent England Football Supporters Podcast. I hope I find you well. Now, you join me on my way to the Volley. It's a bar in Old Street, London. London. It's a great place in the capital to grab a drink and watch the football on one of the many screens they have. Got to be honest, I've not been here in a little while. Obviously, England games, I'll generally be there at the game. But I remember coming here, I'm pretty sure it was a League Cup final a couple of years back. It was one of Manchester City's many wins. I couldn't tell you which one it was, to be honest. But anyway, tonight, they are hosting a gathering of authors. Should be a collective noun for that. Like a gaggle of geese, or a flamboyance of flamingos, or well, you get my point. But the good people at Pitch Publishing have organised the evening. It's a World Cup preview evening, and I'm delighted to have been invited. And I'm hoping to get a few words from some of the great authors there. So many thanks to Chris Eldergill and Alex Daly from Pitch Publishing. So let's see what the evening holds. Okay, right. So I'm in the Volley, lovely venue, and I'm joined by Robert Taylor, author of the book Tears for England. Robert, hello there.
Lovely to be here.
It's going to be quite an interesting evening, I think, tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm ready to see what's going to happen. Well, anything could happen. We've got Paul Parker here, who's a hero of mine from years ago.
Yeah.
A few other people, so I'm ready to answer questions. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, let's answer a few questions now. Come on, Tears for England, the book. How did that come about?
Well, it's been brewing throughout my life, really. I've been following England since the mid-70s, and that's where really the book starts, and it's my life as an England fan. So really, if you like, it's a memoir of supporting England over a sort of literally a half-century period now. So that's what the book is, and I started writing it on the evening that England lost to France in the quarter-final of the World Cup of 2022. So that's Harry Kane's famous missed penalty. That evening, I started writing the book.
That was when pen was put to paper.
That is when it all began.
Because I'm reading it, and I've just said to you there, I'm halfway through it. It's split into two halves. And it caught my eye right at the very beginning as there's a cast list. And I was like, hang on a minute, this is slightly different to various England books I've read before. And as I've read through the book, it's like your life, then England, but it mixes together perfectly.
Yeah, well, I've had some great footy watching friends over the years, and one of them is right here with us, Irena, who features in the book quite heavily, actually. So I wanted to make it clear that when you're an England fan, it's not just a solitary activity. You generally watch with friends in pubs, or even if you're watching at home, you're messaging, or if you're in the stadium, you're with friends. Very rarely is watching football a solitary activity. So I wanted to bring that out in the book, that it's not just about me, but I've been on this journey with several other people over the course of my life, and that's who the cast list is at the beginning.
It's interesting. I'm really enjoying reading it. As I say, it's split into two halves, part one, part two. Looking forward to finishing it off. We should have a proper chat on the podcast.
Very happy to.
Yeah. Robert, thank you very much, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Russell.
So last year I was joined on the podcast by Andy Milne, that World Cup guy. We spoke about Andy's journey up until now, and I'm delighted to be joined by him tonight at the Volley. Andy, you all right?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Russell. It looks like it's going to be a great evening here, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a great little venue. Look, when we last spoke, we ended it on a bit of a cliffhanger where you said there's a book coming, and here we are tonight. Book is in front of me. I can see it. It's there in its glory.
I'm really pleased with it. You know, it's my family's particularly like the photograph bit in the photograph section on the inside, but it took a long time getting everything together. But it focused my memories on each of the different World Cups and talking to friends who I'd been to. A lot of those memories that are kind of sunk into the depths of your brain suddenly came out to the fore, and there's a lot of good stuff in there.
It certainly looks a great book. I'm gonna read it at some point. It's on my list. But just briefly before you're on stage tonight, you've been really busy recently, haven't you? We've had a couple of messages between us where you've been abroad filming, you've done a music video. I even heard you sold your house.
Yeah, that one came in. So it's not my main house. It was an investment property, and the plan was always, we've known for a long time that this World Cup was coming. So the plan was always to release that equity. But I've sold that. The music video is really good. If you haven't heard it, they're called The Englishman.
Right.
The song is called Englishman, and the band is called The Half Timers. So I did that with Tango, a great little music video. That one there. And what was the other one that you said to me?
You done an advert, did you?
Oh, I've done a lot of adverts, and a load of interviews now. So I put Mondays aside for interviews,
right?
And I give everybody half-hour slots, and so I do interviews for various football clubs. So I've done Bristol City, Northwich, Victoria. This week I did Norwich City, right. Rangers. They've been on to do those, but also a lot of newspapers and magazines, and I did People, which is a huge magazine. It's an American thing. It's like Hello and that. I had no idea who they were, and so I asked the woman. She was absolutely shocked that I didn't know who I was talking to. A lot of those interviews, and I've done a lot of commercials. I've done Skechers shoes. That was with Jamie Radnap and Frank LeBeuf.
Check your shoes. What are you wearing?
Skechers tonight. Yeah. I'm not sure of the Skechers now. I did the Hilton Hotels one. So I spent a lot of time filming with Ella Toone on that one.
Right.
But there's also Jill Scott, Jordan Pickford, Morgan Rogers, Ray Parlour are in that advert. I did Betfair advert with Tom Davis, the comedian. That was filmed over in Bulgaria. I did a fashion magazine shoot.
Did you really?
Yeah,
England shirt, I hope.
It was England shirt, and they put shades and a scarf on me because they had to sell something on the page. That's. I can't remember the name of them. They're called Arena Om. They're called. Very posh magazine, only out twice a year. That one, a big fit tabletop magazine. Sophie joined me for a handbag shoot in London. I'm going to do Lidl next week. Loads of lots of them. And the best thing that's come out of all of that is Hilton Hotels have given me free accommodation for the World Cup. So a massive thank you to them.
100%, yeah.
7 weeks worth of accommodation.
Well, you've earned it. Tell me also about there's a website called The 66, isn't there? And you're involved in that. Tell me about that.
So this was formed by Paul Cameron and Chris Eldergill from Pitch Publishing, and it's the idea behind it is to have some sort of serious writing about England, writing that people have put a bit of thought into rather than just getting out the next article.
Yes.
And I've been involved in that, so I've been writing. I wrote quite a long article for them about the pricing around the World Cup, and it's fluid, things change with time, but everybody's upset with the way that FIFA and the Americans have handled this. So I'm writing for them fairly regularly, quite busy at the moment, but I really hope it takes off because there is a lot of good stuff there.
That is that's the 66.
The 66 is called, spelt as a word, SIXTY, as opposed to the number 66. So the 66 is the website.
the book, That World Cup Guide by Andy Milne, you can get it from Pitch Publishing, and I wish you all the very best with it. I know you're going out to the States, so enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not sure when your podcast is going out, but it's released on 25th of May, and I know it's on reduced price on Amazon until then. So you can order it cheaper if you get it before 25th of May.
Go and grab it there. Andy, thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers, Russell. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be joined by Paul Parker. 19 caps for England in his time. He's joined us here tonight at the Volley. Paul, you well?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Now, you're here because you've got a book out as well, Tackling the Game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's me second one.
Yeah,
second book I've done, and people ask me why, and I said, well, because someone mentioned it to me initially a good 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago, about asking me about it, and I mentioned it to someone who I work with doing a podcast, a Manchester United orientated one. And I think I just mentioned it just out of the conversation, and I wondered if he took it a bit personally, because he thought, well, why haven't you asked me? And the person I'm talking about is someone called Wayne Barton, who does a lot of Manchester United books, and he's done a few good books. Sir Matt Busby book is one of the ones that which he absolutely just really enjoyed doing, and which is one of which he's renowned for. And obviously Duncan Edwards' book as well, we've done that. So he just said, well, maybe I'll be able to help you with it. And I'm glad that I did do it with him this time around, is because he knew a lot about me anyway, because I've been kind of working with him on his podcast since about 2014-15, and he knows, and I've been involved in other books, in books about Sir Alex and stuff, having little bits in there. So he knew enough about me to get involved in this book I've just done, really. So and that's how it really come about. And I'm going to maybe jump the gun here, and what I say to maybe what you're going to ask me is people ask, why'd you do a second one? I said, well, again, I say I was asked, but this time around I've done an initial one started about 2005, 2006, moved on nearly 20 years later, and I think I can add a little bit more to it, more context, a little bit more truth about it, adding on more truthful stuff, building on it rather than keep scaling it down, maybe because I just kind of come out of the game, didn't really want to offend people too much. And I look around it now, I'm 61 years of age now, and I just thought to myself, someone's going to ask me a question about stuff what I want to say, I'd come out and say it.
Are you a reader of football books? I mean, are footballers readers like that? Do they like to read other people's?
I can only go by what I see, and I look at a lot of us during my generation was more about playing the game and watching the game, more about playing it, because we wanted to play every single game.
Yeah.
We didn't want to be told to rest or anything like that. I'm definitely, given everything, not really a reader, but I've kind of got more into it because I've got books. Wayne has sent me a lot of books. People have given me books. I've gone and got books of people, of autobiographies and stuff, but maybe slightly stranger ones, and I've kind of, it's nice to know really, just sometimes what other people think. Are they thinking the same what I'm thinking about, maybe about life, the modern game, the modern manager, more importantly the modern player?
Well, there's a big old expanse of a question there. Go on. Quick difference between your time playing and time now. What's that thing that really you see?
I see less players loving the game as what they did in my generation than before, even previous to when I was playing, from when I was a young apprentice of Fulham, and I'm looking at the pros who were there. I just saw people who wanted to play in every single game, and when they weren't playing, they were knocking on the door. If a manager said that he was resting them, they would have taken that personally, rather than taking it on the chin now and accept it as part and parcel of the game. At the end of the day, I look at it as I'm a bloke, I'm a man, and I love football, and I want to work for my money. And I just look at it now as there's a lot of players out there at the moment in time who they're only playing 60, 70 minutes, and they think they've done a job, and I don't see that. I really don't see it, and I'm kind of, I say it as it is, and I'm not a lover of the game today because I keep being told by journalists, by commentators, and more importantly fans, that players are tired and they need a rest, and they've played too much football. And I look at it as that they're not digging roads for a living. They're doing something they're supposed to love, and they want to play as many games as possible, because if you're not playing games, you're training, and you've got the opportunity to do something that you loved as a kid in your garden, with your brother, with your mates in the park, and all you want to do is get as many minutes, get as many games behind you, so you can look back at it and know that the only reason why you haven't got more than that because you missed it because of you was injured, and things like, or you couldn't get a game legitimately because you was at the wrong place at the wrong time, so you moved on again.
Oh, yeah, interesting. The book will obviously cover your time at club level, Manchester United, QPR, Fulham, various clubs, but England as well. I'm sure is covered in there. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm sure the moment that everyone talks to you about England is that semi-final, and I remember as a 10, 11-year-old sitting on my parents' floor watching it. Does that still play on your mind?
It plays on my mind, especially now, is that you tell me that you're a 10-year-old on the floor, and all I want to do now is lay you on the floor again and stamp on you. Because it makes me feel really old when you come out and say something like that. But everyone talks to me about that, because at the end of the day, I was involved in the England squad, got involved from 88, but because of Sir Bobby Robson, I should say, was so loyal to his players. It took me a long time to get my first cap, and that was April 89 against Albania, but I don't think I played again until that summer, late in the summer. I think maybe away against Sweden or Denmark I played in. I think it was Peter Shelton's record-breaking game. I think was it the record-breaking game? No, it couldn't have been. But it was a game I played in, I think, when he passed. I remember him getting something like that. Peter, he got awarded something, so I remember I played that there in, I'm going to say Scandinavia, so it covers it.
Right.
So I remember doing that, but I didn't have enough game time really behind me. So I went out to that World Cup as somebody who was going to put on my regular number, get my number 12 shirts behind me. I had cortisones either side of my groin to make sure I could get through it, because I had a hernia problem oncoming. Think to myself, Gary Stevens going to play every game.
Yes.
It changed after the first game. I played 6 out of 7, and it turned out I have to say the highlight of my career, because I'm still living it now.
Yeah.
I'm still living it now at 61 years of age. You know, from being 25 when I played in that tournament, but it's still going on now. Is that 25, whatever worked out? It's still part and parcel of my life, and I always, when I look at it, people say again to me about players of today. I always say a lot of the players of today are more bothered about the Champions League theme, or whatever they call it, song or whatever, and winning a Champions League rather than playing in the biggest game possible for your country. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of players who've gone in recent times and won the Champions League, but they don't get what I still get now in life from being part of a team that reached the semi-final in a very, very difficult time. And when you talk about what England have done after 2 finals and a semi-final, and people still at this moment in time talking about 1990, because 1990 just wasn't about a game of football as well. It was about a country which was having a very bad time, to keep it very short. So there was a lot of politics going on now, people's lives. There was issues going on with hooliganism as well, which we was being tainted badly by situations from people in control of the country were, as far as I'm concerned, disrespecting football fans, and that's what that was about. So even this evening, someone mentioned it to me, said, well, the football wasn't good, and I turned around and just said to him, it wasn't all about the football. It's the fact of we achieved something through the grit of our teeth, through the fact of what was happening back home, for the fact of our manager, Sir Bobby, was being ridiculed by the British press, I'm going to say the English press, and it made everyone kind of dig in. We weren't the best team. We never come out and say we were the best team in the tournament, but I say we dug in more, and for some reason someone up there gave us a bit of a lucky star or something, because we had games against Cameroon and Belgium when you suddenly realise that there was a chance that something could happen.
Well, I think we've been told to round up, because you're going to be on stage in a moment, just telling the audience a little bit more about your book. Just a quick one on England this summer. Yes, no, maybe.
I'm going to go more with the maybe. Yeah, I can't really come out and be one of those people, because if I come out and say what I think maybe deemed as I should say, then I'm just really not being me. I come out and I say what I feel, and I think we get to the quarter-final and we find out from there. I mean, when I hear say that England are favourites, I kind of go, how, why, really? I look at the teams there in front of them just in Europe. I can name two in Europe, France and Spain, definitely Spain. If you're looking other than that, you're looking at Argentina and maybe Brazil, because it's closer at home to them than what it is for England. So England are going to need a little bit of good fortune. Is there any England player that's really sticking out at this moment you hang your hat on? You would say no at this moment. People will say Harry Kane. I would say yeah, because he's scoring goals in a league where any foreign striker goes into that league and they score a load of goals anyway, and Harry Kane doesn't perform at tournaments. If Harry Kane performs at his tournament, then England win the tournament. It's as simple as that. But he does not perform at tournaments, as we've seen over the years.
Well, let's see. Paul, many thanks for your time. Wish you all the very best with the book.
Thank you very much.
Okay, right, we've got James Bennett now, who has written the book No Show, the World Cup Teams That Never Were. Now, I've got something I'm going to add to this in a moment, because it's something that came to my mind a few days ago. But basically, this is a book about players that never made it to the World Cup. Is that right?
Players and teams, yeah. So some of the greatest players that never played in the World Cup or only had cameo appearances, but also the teams themselves, the ones that came very close, big teams that tripped up, which unfortunately includes England on a few occasions, and also the plucky minnows who nearly got there. So it's a real mix of different stories that I've really enjoyed pulling together.
So how did it come about?
So it was back in 2018 where I was between jobs at the time. I became fascinated with some of the great teams that never made it, particularly in the 90s. And the one that I zoned in on at the time was the France team that didn't qualify for 1994. So obviously you remember France won the World Cup in 1998 with a great team. And actually, what I realised when doing research is a lot of those players were in the team in 1994, in qualifying for 1994. Plus, they also had Eric Cantona and Jean-Pierre Papin, two of the best strikers of the 1990s, up front. And it was a bit strange to me, like, if they had all these players, why didn't they qualify? Managed by Gerard Houllier as well, who was a great manager. So it was a case of started to research why that was, and it came down to two very late defeats in their last two qualifiers, when they only needed one win from two to be able to qualify, and they lost out, and the two teams that beat them in that qualifying group, Sweden and Bulgaria, both went on to the semi-finals. So it kind of started from there, and the more and more I started digging, I looked for great players that didn't qualify, that never played in the World Cup, like George Best, Alfredo Di Stefano, Ian Rush, but also some of the great underdog stories, like the Zambia team that nearly qualified in 1994 despite having lost all the squad due to a plane crash, and one of my personal favourites, the Burkina Faso team that nearly qualified in 2014, is a really charismatic team of cult heroes, and gradually started to assemble all of these different stories from the history of the World Cup going back to the 1950s through to pretty much the present day. And now I've got, as I said, 24 stories that I think stand out in their own merits, but when they bring in together, there's some really important themes that come out of there.
You mentioned France there, and Cantona is on the front of the book. And I'm trying to think off the top of my head, was it Cantona didn't take the ball into the corner or something in that game against, was it Bulgaria?
Yeah, so that was David Ginola.
Beg your pardon.
Yeah, so David Ginola had the ball in the far corner. Bulgaria weren't pressing, so all he could do was just run the clock out, get the draw that they needed, and qualify for the World Cup. And instead of taking it to the corner, he whacked a cross in towards Cantona, but completely missed it, and it fell to the Bulgarian right back. Bulgaria charged up the other end, pitched a couple of 1-2s, and then scored the winning goal to go through. And ironically, the player who scored the goal technically shouldn't have been allowed into France.
Oh, really?
And a couple of the Bulgarian players basically had to get smuggled into France by a colleague of theirs, a former player. It's just this fascinating sequence of events to create that. Pele was there as well. They were all setting it up for France. They're about to host the World Cup in 4 years' time, and here's them coming back to the World Cup after missing out in 1990, presumably to be one of the favourites to win it. And I still think that if they hadn't made it, they probably would have stood a really good chance of winning it. So yeah, it's just a fascinating story of hubris and everything kind of going wrong, really.
Well, I mentioned at the beginning there about recently I thought about this, and I was watching, it would have been PSV against Bayern, and there's the player that I can never pronounce. Is it Kvaratskhelia?
Yeah.
Who's obviously plays for Georgia. And you look at, maybe now with the World Cup being expanded, Georgia might have a chance in time, but you think, a player of that standard may never get onto the biggest stage.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, for a while it looked like Erling Haaland wouldn't. Even though actually Norway have got a good squad, it was never seemed to come together for them. But thankfully it has clicked now. So the fact that Haaland is going to a World Cup, when I started writing the book and picked the Norway team to be it, they're the most recent team in it, it was very uncertain as to whether or not they would. So I was able to kind of get in at the last minute. They have actually achieved it. It's a nice happy ending to end the book on, because it would have been awful for Haaland to end up on that list of great players that never made it, because he is such a phenomenal talent. But then, as I said, you've got Alfredo Di Stefano, George Best. George Weah is probably a classic example of a player who is so far above the inability of the players from the other country, to the point where he was the coach. He was paying for them to travel and for their kits and things like that. He was acting as the agent for these players to try and get them into better clubs so that they could get playing time at a decent level. He was just doing absolutely everything as well as playing, and they nearly made it to the 2002 World Cup. They just lost out to Nigeria. Phenomenal story. Yeah, and that's the thing. Occasionally you get that one talent, and Kvaratskhelia, a fantastic player, obviously got to the Euros, but unfortunately the supporting cast in Georgia isn't quite on his level, and it will always be a bit of a struggle. I mean, they basically qualified for the Euros via that kind of backdoor route from the bottom pool in the Nations League. So hopefully they can build a bit more. Georgia have got a fantastic history of producing great players, even in Soviet Union days, the great Dynamo Tbilisi side of the 80s.
Well, we shall see whether he makes it in due course. But the book is called No Show, The World Cup Teams That Never Were. Are you on the socials?
Yes, so J Bennett Writer I've been mainly using Instagram. I'm on Twitter as well, and there's a link tree with a few other links to other social accounts and where you can buy it as well, so it's available in all usual retailers. Support your local bookshop.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. I should ask, is this your first book, or have you got other ideas for a next one?
It's my first book, and I've started working on a sequel which will be on the Euros. I haven't officially pitched it to publish tonight, but been given good indications that this one seems to be doing well, so it'd be great to do a follow-up. And I think that one I'm intended to do fewer teams and doing a bit more detail, because that's the one thing I learned from this, is that I like to go into things in a bit more detail than I did in this book. I tried to keep it accessible, so you don't necessarily need knowledge to understand it. But I think the next one I want to go into the teams in a bit more detail. Some really fascinating stories of some great teams that didn't qualify for the Euros as well. And I'd like to explore that more.
Well, I wish you all the very best with this one. James Bennett, thank you. And there we go. A really enjoyable evening. 6 books, 6 authors, all gave their time to tell us about their books while sitting on a panel throughout the evening. And from an England point of view, hearing some of the stories Paul Parker told about some of his club mates, managers, and of course Italia 90. Great to hear. And so, with many thanks to Pitch Publishing and the 66, who you can find at 66.news, that was who Andy mentioned earlier on. Thanks to those guys, I have a copy of each of those books to give away. I just have to work out how. But make sure you give each of those guys a follow on your socials. Make sure you follow the Three Lions podcast as well, and we'll work out how we're going to give each of those away. Now, I didn't get to speak to 2 of the guys there, so special mentions should go to Sam Cunty and his book Brazil 1970, which I've just noticed has a foreword by Jorginho, of all people. And also Rhys Richards and his book Blood on the Crossbar, The Dictatorship's World Cup. That one focuses in on the 1978 tournament that was hosted and won by Argentina amid a time of trouble in the country. So those, along with a copy from each of the authors, as I say, will be part of a competition very soon. So keep an eye on the Three Lions podcast socials. I'll do it through those. Maybe we'll do one a week throughout the World Cup. And of course, should you not be able to wait that long, of course, all of those books are available through Pitch Publishing, your local bookshop, or indeed from the likes of Amazon. So let's leave it there. Thanks as always for tuning in. It's always appreciated. As always, I will be back soon with some more England related content, and I hope you can join me for it. So until then, take care of yourselves. Cheers.